Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.
Hi, I'm Cherry Johnson with Watauga County Arts Council. It's the time of year again to gather around a big old pot-bellied stove and hear some wonderful stories. And I got just the man here to tell you all about how to find out about it. It's time for Tellabration, and this is Doyle Pace. Doyle is one of our board members, but you are kind of the local patriarch of storytelling, I guess.
Okay.
You took over for the matriarch who moved away. That was
Right,
Diane Hackworth.
Right.
So Doyle, you kind of keep the storytelling groups or people involved and participating and
yes.
making it available to our community. And you were just telling me you've been into storytelling for a lot of years.
Just about all my life, but I've been telling stories, I'd say, in front of an audience for 30 years.
So since you were toddler.
Like that, yeah. Since I was very small.
Yes, and so you are gathering a few more storytellers again this year, and you're going to be putting this group in front of where people can hear them tell their stories.
Right.
So who are we going to get to hear?
Okay, this is kind of a special this year.
Oh.
It's going to be Ted Hicks, who is the son of the legendary Ray Hicks.
Right.
And then Orville Hicks, who was Ray's cousin, and people in this area know Orville.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tammy Santabria, who grew up on Beach Mountain, but now lives down Caldwell County.
Uh-huh.
And she has told stories in this area lots of times, and so it's got, as of what I am calling a mountain storytelling festival, because they are all from Beach Mountain, all three of the tellers. And of course Orville and Ted will be telling Jack tales. Well, Orville does other stuff, but Ted will mainly be telling Jack tales, and then Tammy tells stories, a lot of stories about just growing up on Beach Mountain. But she tells a variety of stories too. So it should be really a lot of fun. It's going to be at the original Mass store in Valley Crucis on the 17th, Saturday the 17th.
Right.
And we'll start at 11 in the morning, around 11, and we're saying we'll finish up about 1, but it may go a little longer. It just depends.
Considering who's doing the time.
It's hard to put a time on storytellers. But I want to emphasize that you don't have to come at 11 and stay until 1. You can come and go as you feel like, and then there in the store, then people sometimes want to look around the store and then come back and hear more stories and go do something else. So, and there is no admission charge for this. It's free. And for the this year, in addition to of course Mass Store sponsoring it and the Arts Council, we have the Deerfield Ridge Assisted Living, who is sponsoring it, and they are going to provide some hot cider or refreshments of some kind, they told me.
That's great.
So, and that should be nice. Sitting by it's going to be a little chilly, I think, probably Saturday, maybe about like today, and you'll have a fire in the stove and chairs all around it.
It was hot.
and it should be a lot of fun. And so come out, bring as many people with you as you can. Tellabration is really meant for adults. It started for that purpose. It started in 1988 in Connecticut. A storyteller by the name of J.G. Pinkerton started it, and his idea was to try to bring more adults into storytelling. So the stories are more aimed at the adult level, but kids will enjoy them too. Kids enjoy stories, especially Orville. So,
oh yes, oh yes.
So I mean, by adult, I don't mean they're risque. They're just not little fairy tales.
They're a little more complex.
Yeah, they're a little more complex.
So therefore, a child might not follow the whole line.
But children, I find, love stories even if they don't understand what's being said.
That's exactly right.
And so.
And let's go back and tell them what Tellabration is.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of there. I said it started in 1988, and just in Connecticut, of 2 or 3 places in Connecticut. And within 5 years, it had spread worldwide.
Wow.
And now stories are told, and it's always the same date. It is the weekend before Thanksgiving. Some places it's told on Saturday. I know in Asheville they're doing their story that Tellabration on Sunday, but it's always that weekend. And it is now, last year, and I'm sure it will be this year, every continent except Antarctica had storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And thousands of locations. No one knows for sure how many places,
wow,
because they're not always reported.
Or how many people heard stories that weekend.
It is loosely is under the umbrella of the National Storytelling Network, but everybody doesn't report to them, so you know that they're having Tellabration, so who knows how many there is. But
that's cool.
Millions
really
of
cool.
people will be hearing and telling stories at that time, and I've always thought that was kind of a magical thing.
So, too. So it gives you an opportunity to come and be part of this magic,
yes,
and participate in a worldwide event
Right.
in our own community.
Right.
And so I think that's really, really cool that you're doing this. Now, we are offering this for free.
Yes.
The storytellers are paid, but they're paid through the generosity primarily of our sponsors,
Right.
which are Deerfield Ridge and, of course, Mass General Store is hosting the event, and the Arts Council is presenting the event, thanks to Doyle. And so it's an opportunity to see a community partnership also in action, which I think is really neat. So,
Yes.
So it's a great, I don't know, storytelling. Doyle and I were talking before we started this, that he was telling me about all the huge storytelling community out in Kansas City, which blew my mind, because you think of storytelling more of a mountain tradition. I mean, you know, when most of us think of storytelling as kind of an Appalachian thing, it's not. It's worldwide.
Stories are told everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's one of the more ancient of the art forms. I mean, stories were told before there was a written language.
Well, stories carry a multitude of reasons for being told, too. From everything from teaching to entertaining to whatever, carrying on history.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the griots of Africa, who passed on the wisdom and the lore of their civilization by word of mouth, by storytelling. And the tradition still goes on.
It's pretty amazing.
Even with the modern means of communication. It's still, storytellers are still passing on the culture.
That's something. No, we have several storytellers in our area that are active storytellers. Among them is Doyle himself. Are you going to be telling any stories this particular time?
I'll probably tell a story or
quite
two.
resist.
It's hard for me not to, although I don't want to take the time away from the other tellers. Ted Hicks, the son of Ray, who is in a nursing home in Banner Elk, the Life Care Center in Banner Elk, has just started really telling stories. Of course, he always did it around home and all, but he's really got blossomed in recent years. And this past year at Jonesboro, the big National Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro, the first weekend in October, Ted was able to be in one of the big tents on the stage there with the storyteller Connie Reagan Blake from Asheville, and the crowd just loved Ted, and of course it did so much for him.
That's great.
I mean, there was hundreds and hundreds of people in the audience.
How wonderful!
So he was at. I had him at Tellabration last year also. So.
I remember that. Yeah. That's great. Well, Doyle, thank you for what you do to organize this. And I think, honestly, if it weren't for Doyle, it probably, as I know for a fact, it wouldn't be pulling together. So you're really a big part of the storytelling tradition in this community.
Well, I find that everybody loves to hear stories, so it's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we look forward to hearing more from you, and for hearing all these wonderful stories on Saturday. I do hope you're going to join us from 11 to 1 at the Mass General Store on the 17th, which is a Saturday. And we're going to celebrate as the Tellabration worldwide also has its little celebration here in Watauga County. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Check out our website, watauga-arts.org, for this and so much more.
The Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.